What's going on, everybody? Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday, AMC had some news, speculation, potential rumors that it actually boosted the stock past $5, trying to hang on to that price point as of today, closing at exactly $5. I want to dive into this a little bit further, talk about some of the pros and the cons and where this exactly came from. And we're also going to touch base on where AMC and Apes merger stands as of right now. So let's get right into it. First off, guys, here is the 30-day chart. All right. And unfortunately, it seems like every earnings, for quite some time plays out to be very similar. It gets a run up into earnings. The market makers try to pump this a little bit. They try to steal some of that premium, and then it slowly just fades away. Eventually, mark my words, this happens time and time again. When you see this during earnings season, is shorts eventually will trip over themselves, okay? And whether that is because there is a special announcement, whether it's because it's going to be much better than expected on their top line, bottom line, EPS, revenue, whatever it may be, they can definitely trip over themselves. We've seen it happen time and time again with plenty of other tickers, okay? So considering this run up, eventually they will begin to trip over themselves. But as for right now, unfortunately, that's what the pattern tends to be, a run up into it and a little bit of a sell off. We're still consolidating around that $4 to $5 range. Now, yesterday, it was a pretty big pop, okay? And of course, it did halt to the upside, but a nice move all the way from about that 450 level up to 550 before consolidating, breaking just below that $5 level. Now we want to see this $5 reclaim. Okay, if it does act as resistance, it'll probably go back to that 450 level. But let's take a look at what the news was. So first of all, the same story kind of stirred around again. Amazon may buy distressed AMC theater chain in seismic Hollywood streaming shift. Now, I had tweeted or retweeted something that Fast Stock Market News had sent out. And I said, listen, it's just kind of like the same story again. I clicked on the link one time, intersect.news. Okay, I've never really heard of this news outlet before. You take a deeper look into where exactly the article states. There's no proof of it. Okay, when you look at the just overall website, it does seem like it does have more content. However, it is a very, very new website. Okay, while taking a look at this domain and how long it's been hosted for, it is a very new website. Okay, so the news and the outlet, the media that has, portrayed this, all right, and shared this information is not very credible. However, investors took note and traders took no hesitation to actually jumping on this and trying to pile on this and continue to push higher. Obviously, every single time AMC halts, it runs the same pattern and traders tend to pull away from it a little bit, which is understandable because we've seen market makers manipulate this time and time again, okay? But every other news, outlet had picked up on this anywhere from just an hour ago to 7 hours ago, all the way until yesterday. I want to talk a little bit more about the practicality of Amazon acquiring this, okay? So first of all, this is from Forbes, in no relation to me, guys. An Amazon spokesperson said the company doesn't comment on rumors or speculation, characterizing the reports as the latter. AMC declined to comment for the story. Now, we've heard, like I said, this has been going on since I want to say the start of 2021. We've seen this with overseas media outlets actually talking about this, some European outlets. But let's take a look at the probability of this. Now, there was a time where I did think that Amazon would potentially want to buy out AMC. Reason being is because their revenue was slashed, okay, from the COVID pandemic. And Amazon is very good at, collecting verticals, right? They have their Prime. They're starting to create the movies. They're shooting the movies. They're hosting the movies on their network. Now they would be able to own the theaters. It's all in verticals when it comes to business, okay, and scaling their businesses. However, AMC has recovered a good amount. And while AMC has been actually recovering over the last couple of years, Amazon has been struggling. Okay, if you take a look at Amazon stock, where it kind of stands, looking at this from a larger time frame, it's down about 50% from all-time highs. And while you might be saying to yourself, yeah, Jeff, well, so are a lot of other stocks. When you look at some of the blue chips, if you've watched some of my other videos, you take a look at Apple. Apple's not that far off of all-time highs. Other stocks like Microsoft, they're holding up just a little bit better. When you take a look at Amazon, it's still about, I would say, it is less than 50%, about 45% off from all-time highs. When you take even a deeper look into this, this is an article that was published September 14th, and we've seen dozens of articles. We've seen this talked about, okay, on their earnings calls and just in their earnings reports, trying to, feed some information to their shareholders. Amazon cancels, delays dozens of warehouses as it looks to right size capacity. Okay, so Amazon was on a massive growth path. Okay, they were acquiring other companies. They were getting involved with everything from cloud storage, to their own delivery services, to, like we just talked about, producing their own movies. Anything that they could, they were just acquiring, they were growing, and they were dumping all of their money into growth. Well, things started to slow down a little bit. The economy is hitting a little bit of a pullback. We've seen, other shipping companies such as FedEx and UPS talk about, this pullback, as well as other big tech companies having layoffs. Okay, and just seeing a little bit of this demand slowing down. While the demand is not slowed down, okay, to really what expectations thought they were going to be 12 months ago, there still has been a little bit of slowing demand, which is normal. But this article talks about Amazon just needing to pull back a little bit, all right? Slow down their warehouses expansion, slow down some of their, their other avenues that they're trying to, really spend money on in acquiring other companies. And therefore, I just think at this time, it is a little bit more unlikely. Now, like I said, this can potentially happen. However, judging from the news source being, somebody that, really, I've never even heard of this before, and I'm sure many of you guys haven't either, as well as just taking a look at this article as among many other articles. And like I said, being on some of these earning calls, listening to them, as I am a big believer in Amazon for the long term. Okay, that they are going through a little bit of a struggle. They need to kind of realign things. It says it right here, to better align with expected, customer demand from an earnings call. So, guys, that is going to be it when it comes to talking about, the acquisition. One thing I will want to touch base on when it comes to AMC. Okay, leading up to this April 27th verdict, I've said this for quite some time. It seems like this gap needs to close a little bit if there's going to be a probability. You've got 8 trading at $1.45 right now, which is what, 30% of the price of AMC, what, 29% to be exact, of the price of AMC. You're going to want to see that gap kind of close a little bit if there's any bit of probabilities. Now, the one thing I will tell you as we get closer to this date, and remember this, is chances are there will be a run up into that, right? So whether or not, the conversion goes through, it gets approved, whether there's delay in the court hearings, whether it gets extended, whatever the result may be, there most likely will be a run up into it. Okay, this plays just similar to earnings. This is another event. This is a catalyst. This most likely will happen. Now, if it does run up a little bit, that gap tends to close a little bit, and obviously something comes out to the negative, expect APE to kind of drop off. So prepare for that to happen. Okay, if it does get approved, then most likely you're going to see APE kind of pop a little bit, AMC pull, and those prices kind of stabilize. So keep that in mind as we get closer. We still have plenty of time. It's almost a month away. We just want to give you guys an update so you know kind of what to expect as of right now. So that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.